Hey, it's Kelly. Welcome back to my channel where we talk all about gentle skincare, sometimes self-care, and today we're talking skincare hot takes I am sick of hearing. Now, it does not escape me the irony that this video is going to be my hot takes dunking on hot takes. Like, it doesn't escape me, trust me. But these are just some like clickbaity phrases that are thrown around. They're there to get your attention, to sell you things, or to make you feel bad about yourself that I'm just so sick of hearing. So I want to clear the air a little bit. You know what I mean? Get some things off my chest. So if you're so ready, buckle up, grab a snack, and let's jump right into the video. Hot take. What's actually popular in Korea? So this is not about people who have a genuine interest in what's trending and popular in South Korean culture. That's not what this is about at all, okay? Like, it's absolutely fine to have an interest in what is trending and popular. What I'm really keying in on is the word actually. This phrase, what's actually popular, because it is usually used to say this brand is not popular, this brand is popular, therefore you should buy this brand, stop buying this one. And it does actually infer that this brand that's not popular is somehow inferior, it's of bad quality, it's like fake K-beauty because real Korean people don't like this brand, so how can it be K-beauty really? There's a lot of weird vibes underneath that statement, and it is always, I promise you, it is always weaponized to sell you more stuff, right? The good quality, actually Korean brand, right? That's actually popular in Korea. The reality is South Korea is a very competitive country when it comes to the beauty industry. For over a decade now, they have been regarded as on the cutting edge of, you know, brand new technologies in skincare formulations. Like, they really have been the leader in the skincare revolution and the rise of popularity within skincare. They definitely are seen as leaders, right, in this global industry. Within the country of South Korea, it's actually a pretty small country. There are only so many consumers within South Korea, but there is a really international, global interest on the beauty industry within this country. And that means a lot of competition. It is really hard to break through, and it may not be feasible for independent brands, especially, to market themselves within this already very crowded, very competitive space where there's not that many consumers. But because there's so much global interest outside of this country, it does make a lot of sense to market to that international customer. It does make a lot of sense to focus first and foremost on being like an online, you know, availability worldwide, rather than focusing in on a physical presence within a store or having a storefront, which can be extremely expensive, right? Especially in Seoul. It is a lot more complex than just like, what does an average Korean person think is a good skincare or not. They may not have been exposed to these brands because these brands aren't being marketed to them. And that doesn't make it fake K-beauty or bad quality. It just means that there is so much demand outside of South Korea. Some brands are going to choose to only focus on that market. Some brands are going to choose to focus solely within, you know, the country itself. I mean, a really great example of this is CosRX. CosRX is a brand that started, I think, at least 10 years ago now, if not longer. No, I think it's been longer than 10 years. And they could not gain a foothold in the Korean market. Like, you know what I mean? Like, Korean consumers weren't interested in this little indie brand. They just could not build up a customer base. They actually found their longevity and their popularity in the international community. And then they kind of shifted their focus to marketing to that community only. And they are a huge brand now, right? I mean, they're sold in so many stores worldwide. And now they are being sold in Korea. But if you went 10 years ago to Seoul, you would not see CosRX in the stores. You see this actually a lot in the K-pop industry too. It's extremely competitive and it's really crowded, and there's only so many fans that you can get if you focus solely within South Korea. But if you expand, right, we can get global domination like BTS. It's the exact same thing. It's fine if you're genuinely interested in what's trending and going on there, but please be aware of how this particular phrase is being used to sell you things. And I'm saying this from firsthand experience because, hot tea time, K-beauty brand approached me a few years ago, very up and coming, but definitely not like a well-known name. No, I'm not going to tell you, so don't ask. But this is definitely like a brand that you did not hear about 2 years ago and you can't stop hearing about now. So very up and coming new indie brand approached me for paid sponsorship. They offered me a good amount of money. Definitely turned my head. The products seemed good. I thought that they were interesting. They definitely felt like good quality products to me, right? But they had very specific marketing terms that they needed me to say in the video. And that's always like a red flag for me. I like to give a genuine, honest, review from my words. I don't like to feel like I'm reading a script. And I don't want to be saying things that don't feel authentic and true to me. And they wanted me to say something very inauthentic to my voice, which would be to say, these products by up and coming brand are actually popular in Korea, unlike a very well-known international brand, K-beauty brand. And I was like, I'm not gonna, lift one up by slamming another. That's just not how I approach things. I would love to give a honest, authentic review to my community and my voice, and they ghosted me because I did not agree to read their marketing script, basically. And I can't stop seeing this brand anymore. It worked. It's not just a personal thing, but you see how this is being used. You see how this is actually working to market and sell certain products. And you see how it's a little insidious, right? Do you see how it's a little bit not rooted in authenticity and how it's a little bit suspicious, right? I mean, it's very, very, very effective, but I just think it's something that we need to be a lot more critical of. Hot take: validating skincare through science and clinical marketing. Now, I had originally written this hot take out as the scientification of skincare. And I was like, Kelly, I don't think scientification is a word. It took me a minute to even wrap my mouth around that word. But what I mean is making skincare feel sciencey in order to validate it and to sell it. So I am not talking about all of the amazing information that's out there, all of the great science communicators that are giving us their time and their knowledge to inform us about how skincare works. I love the science of skincare. If you hadn't guessed, I love researching into ingredients, why things work the way they do, how does skin work, right? How do formulations all come together? That's really not what I'm talking about. This hot take has some layers, so that's not it at all. So please continue to enjoy your science communicators. What I'm really talking about again is marketing. Marketing's really getting me fired up lately because I really see how the aesthetics of science, not the actual science, the aesthetics of science are being used to sell us products. And there is something about the mindset of this aesthetic, the clinical packaging, right? Leading first with the percentages and with the data and with the, even if they're fluffed up and not really true, they feel sciencey, so they must be true. They must be authentic. Leading with all of that first. I'm talking brands like The Ordinary. I'm talking about Niad. I'm talking like the Inky list, right? And there's so many other ones out there. I'm not saying these are bad brands. I like them a lot. But this type of marketing, this type of aesthetic really brings in a certain kind of consumer, right? And of course, there's all different types of marketing tactics out there. And there's all different types of elements and facets to skincare, like packaging, scents, textures, right? All different ways to market and create a brand identity out there, right? And certain people will be drawn to certain marketing tactics and brand identities. Absolutely. This is just how it works, right? In capitalism. I'm not dunking on people using science to market products, but it's just that it creates a consumer push and pull. It does create this mindset that my skincare is science-based and your skincare is in a pink bottle and my skincare actually works and your skincare is not really valid. It's just kind of like a fluffy self-care thing. But this is more clinical. This has the data behind it. So your stuff's probably not working. There is kind of this argument about what's actually valid and what's actually effective. And the real truth of the matter is F marketing. There's so much crap out there. There's so much crap in the sciencey brands. Some Some of the worst skincare I've tried have actually been the dermatologist branded like skincare lines. There's crap in every facet of skincare, and there's so much of it these days. And there's really good stuff out there too, but it doesn't just exist in one brand identity. It's just marketing. It's just like window dressing, right? And actually, I think it's important to really think about these things critically, because you can actually see, and you could hear it in the way I was speaking, it's actually kind of gendered. You know, I've had conversations about this with science communicators about how science is being used to actually bring more men into the space, because skincare has traditionally been seen as a woman's area, right? Like that's silly women's self-care. It has often been seen that way. And so to bring in more consumers and AKA make more money, right? Actually, this clinical marketing has actually been a more inviting space for more masculine identifying people. And that's not bad, but we see this, right? We see this, and then we see how it actually gets used against us. Like, please, everybody is welcome to skincare. We all have skin, right? But this is how marketing, again, I use the word marketing, is weaponizing this against us. And then we start to get into our little echo chambers and our little bubbles about what's actually effective or what's actually good, or what's actually valid. And it's all valid, right? Because there's good stuff across the board, there's bad stuff across the board. And definitely science helps play a role into what makes an effective product. But at the end of the day, it's all just marketing stuff, right? If you strip it all away and we just tried products in like completely generic bottles, you would be surprised what actually is effective. And then to find out what brand identity it was from, right? So I just think it comes down to how we treat each other. This was a really deep, layered hot take. Hot take. You're aging like milk. You know, the energy of what we say has an effect, and negative will bounce back as negative. Let's break this one down, because this is, the phrase is you're aging like fine wine, right? Like wine, as it gets older, it gets better, right? Supposedly. But milk, definitely a product you want to consume in its infancy. You don't want milk sitting for too long. It will spoil, it will curdle, it will sour. And so I've been seeing a lot of articles about how Gen Z thinks their generation is aging like milk. And I'm just like, really? Because I just feel like every generation is aging better and better and better. Do you know what I mean? Like I know that like at my age, I look better than my mom did. My mom looks better at her age than her mother did. And I bet the same is true for you, no matter what generation you are a part of. You think about this. You probably look better than your parents did at your age, right? Because so much has changed within those generations with lifestyle shifts that have occurred that actually have helped us age a little bit better, right? Like, my grandparents' generation, in the 50s and the 60s, lots of heavy drinking, lots of heavy smoking, absolutely no sunscreen, lots of sun worship, right? All of those things play into how our appearance ages over time. And of course, our internal bodies too, right? And not only are the generations aging better, but I think we're living longer too. That word longevity, I think really applies to this. It's not just about how we look, but actually the longevity of our health. We have just some really strange thoughts about aging. And the phrase, like, it's kind of funny and irreverent, but at the end of the day, I think it's extremely harmful, because we already have such a warped sense of what it means to age. And, like I said, definitely there is a physical change happening within the generations. Like the way that we think 50 looks is not how actual 50 looks these days. It's definitely not Golden Girls. The Golden Girls were like in their 50s and you're just like, what? But of course, I'm sure you were waiting for me to say social media. Yeah, I'm going to say it. Social media has definitely warped our sense of what aging looks like too. I think it has warped our sense of just age in general, because definitely high-tech filters, AI, all of that, what we're seeing is not real, and we know that, but we still internalize it. We don't see anybody with wrinkles online who are around our age, or maybe millennials or whatever, right? And then you look in the mirror and you're like, there's the wrinkle, what the heck's going on here? And then you start to think, well, I'm aging badly, everybody else looks amazing except for me. Yeah, I mean, the thing is, aging is complex. There's so much that goes into it, like genetics, like even our face shape, you know what I mean, can play into how old we think we look. Things like lifestyle play into it. You know, the reason that like we are looking better than our grandparents did at our age is because most of us aren't heavily drinking, heavily smoking. And if you're, you know, into skincare, you're probably avoiding the sun or using sun protection, right? Those three things play a huge part in aging. And then, of course, what we put on our skin obviously plays a role too. But those other three things that I just said actually play a heavier role than how we treat our skin. Ugh. That's like not very good news, right? However, it's really that internal journey. Aging like milk is so negative. It's so shameful. It throws shame. Like, please don't ever say it about yourself, and please don't ever say it about somebody else either. It just throws so much shame. Like, you don't know what's going on of some of those things that I just listed that's happening with that person. You don't know what's going on in their life. You don't know about any of that stuff. Don't ever say this about somebody else. Don't judge anybody about. And also, like, youth is overrated. Honestly, I think there's some great stuff about it for sure, but there's also some great stuff about getting older too. And like, it's that mindset shift, I think. I really dislike that we just judge people based on appearance only. Oh, you're aging like milk, or oh, you're aging like fine wine. It's like, what about your mind though? What about your personality? What about your life experiences? Like, what's your spirit? What's your energy? Like, that's what I'm interested in, right? And that is really how I'm going to see you as a person rather than your appearance. If you are struggling with getting older, I think really at any age, but if you're just kind of struggling with that, because we all do from time to time, right? If you're having a little melancholy about that, I would say find some well-aging goddesses to look up to. Somebody who's older than you, but who's doing it well. Like, okay, so like for me, for sure, like Kate Winslet, Helena Christensen, and Isabella Rossellini, like goddesses, and they have fine lines. They, you know what I mean? Like, they are not like poreless, smooth, whatever, you know what I mean? But they are absolutely vibrant, full of life, living well, aging well. We are all on our own journey. That's why I call it well aging, not anti-aging. It's going to happen, but we want to do it as well as possible. And all of those resources, as I said, are at our fingertips. It's incredibly empowering. Doing hot takes on hot takes. For sure. There were some hot takes in here for sure, but I really just wanted to deconstruct some of this stuff that I see within our space that really just like, it needs to be critically examined, right? So I'm curious if there's something that you're seeing, some hot takes that you've noticed in the skincare community lately that are kind of driving you up the wall. Let us all know in the comments and let us know your hot take on the hot take. And if you enjoyed this video and you want to see more product reviews, skincare education, skincare routines from me, definitely hit subscribe, come join our community, and turn on notifications so you're never out of the loop. Thanks for being here with me today and sharing in the Dunkin' on hot takes. I love you so much. Thank you for making this channel possible. I hope you are healthy, happy, and safe, and I'll talk to you in the next video. Bye.